Welcome to Top 30. I'm Richard Bacon.
And I'm Kristen Smith. And here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
Millions of Americans are looking forward to getting tax refunds, but hackers could be trying to steal them. The most common form of tax fraud is when someone files a return in your name. In 2016, more than $1.6 billion in refunds were stolen. Experts warn the threat this season will be even greater because of the hack of credit bureau Equifax last year. More than 143 million people had their personal information compromised. Much of that stolen information is what thieves need to file a false return, like social security numbers. The IRS accepts only one tax return per social security number. Many victims of tax fraud don't realize it until their legitimate return is rejected. That's why one expert says filing early is the most proactive way to protect yourself against tax return fraud. The IRS also warned that any phone calls from the agency are probably fake. They prefer to contact people by mail. Consumers can also sign up on the IRS website to track their return and make sure no one else files one. There's another benefit to filing early. You'll also get your return check that much sooner.
Does coffee cause cancer? Some stores in California may be forced to warn customers about the potential risk. They include Starbucks, 7-Eleven, and BP. They were some of the places that were named in a lawsuit filed by the Council for Education and Research on Toxics. The lawsuit is based on a chemical called acrylamide. It's created when coffee beans are roasted. California keeps a list of possible causes of cancer, and that chemical is on the list. The lawsuit alleges several coffee sellers failed to provide clear and reasonable warning that coffee could expose people to acrylamide. The suit wants those companies to pay fines and post warnings about the dangers of drinking coffee. The National Coffee Association released a statement saying coffee has been shown over and over again to be a healthy beverage. This lawsuit simply confuses consumers at a time when the public needs clear and accurate information about health. CNN is reporting that 7-Eleven is one of the companies that has settled the lawsuit and will post warning signs. The other defendants will attend a mediation hearing February 8th. You may have heard of Chris Long. He made headlines for donating his entire $1 million base salary for the NFL season to charity. Well, now the Philadelphia Eagles linebacker is in the news again. Long made a friendly wager with his position coach and talked about it with the check down.
But I also made a really dumb bet with my linebacker coach that I would get a portrait of his face if we won the Super Bowl. Ken Flagel. So look him up on Google. That's, hopefully I'll have a Ken Flagel tattoo.
So if the Eagles win, Chris Long will have to get a tattoo of this guy on his body. But I'm guessing the joy of winning back-to-back Super Bowls will be worth it. He also won with the Patriots last year and will join just 5 other players who won consecutive titles for 2 different teams. The officer who sent out the false missile alert in Hawaii now tells the FCC he did it on purpose, believing the threat was real. The officer has been fired from his post, and the head of the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency has resigned. And O.J. Simpson managed to avoid payments to the Goldmans yet again. A judge threw out Fred Goldman's bid to collect money O.J. made from selling autographs this week. He was awarded $33.5 million for the wrongful death of his son Ron in 1994, which with interest is now more than $70 million. And finally, this Mets superfan got a special visitor after she managed to secure 500,000 retweets. The New York club surprised Callie with a promposal from Mr. Met. She will also get a prom photo shoot at Citi Field on May 18th.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with Jerry Willis today. Jerry, I hear that Facebook is making more changes to its ad policy.
That's right, Richard. You won't be seeing ads for Bitcoin on Facebook or Instagram anytime soon. That's because the social network site is banning all ads related to cryptocurrencies and ICOs in an attempt to crack down on scams and fraud. But the company may tweak the policy in the future for legitimate crypto-related businesses. Apple pushing back on some key iPhone software features originally planned for this fall. That's because the company reportedly wants to focus on reliability and performance. Improvements users can expect will be in augmented reality, digital health, parental controls. This, according to Axios. And some cities are starting to put beet juice, beer waste, and pickle brine on icy roads to cut down on salt usage. That's because salt is apparently bad for the environment.
And Jerry, what exactly happens when the snow melts?
Some studies have found it washes the salt into rivers and lakes and destroys freshwater habitats. Get this, more than 20 million tons of salt are dumped on U.S. roads each year.
Jerry, that is a huge number. Thank you. Kristen, you have a powerful story about two friends.
Yeah, Richard, some stories you just can't make up. Two guys, best friends for more than 60 years, find out they're brothers. Walter McFarland and Alan Robinson were both adopted. They never knew their birth parents, one of the commonalities that bonded the two when they met in 6th grade. They instantly connected, and as they grew up, graduated, and started their careers, Walter, a football coach and teacher, and Alan, a fighter pilot in Vietnam, then a commercial pilot, they stayed close. They both got married, grew their families. Life was good. But as they got older, they started to wonder about their biological parents. Eventually, their kids convinced them to start looking. Both Walter and Alan did one of those online ancestry searches, and when the results came back, they were stunned. Walter and Alan's birth parents were the same two people. They were brothers. The news was good and emotional. They had a party to break the news to friends. Of course, it was a lot to soak in, but both men are overjoyed and truly believe brothers make the best friends.
The Transportation Security Administration says it confiscated 3,957 guns in American airports last year, more than ever before. And here's the thing, the vast majority of them, 84%, were loaded. Flyers out of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta were the most heavily armed. 245 guns were confiscated. Dallas-Fort Worth came in second with 211. Agents at Houston's George Bush Airport found 142 guns. Flyers also tried to smuggle knives by hiding them in combs, deodorant, canes, and lipstick. Many travelers, and this is true, attempted to bring grenades on their flight. TSA urges flyers to message them on Twitter or Facebook if they have any questions about items they're flying with. Although if you don't know whether you should bring a grenade on a plane, you're an idiot.
A number of lenders are accused of trying to profit from victims of sexual harassment. Settlement advance companies lend money to people suing in exchange for a cut of their settlement. It's most common in lawsuits over personal injury or medical malpractice. But the New York Times reports that after the Me Too movement began, some companies added another specialty, sexual misconduct. One firm called Law Cash tweeted that they fund sexual abuse lawsuits with the hashtag Harvey Weinstein. Settlement advance companies only get paid if a plaintiff gets money from a lawsuit. When plaintiffs pay back the money, they might be charged interest rates as high as 100%. It's legal because technically the funds aren't loans. They're called an advance. Some plaintiffs feel they don't have a choice. The Times talked to one who was using the money not only for legal fees, but for therapy and medical bills after the alleged assault. That's why many consumer advocates criticize the loans as predatory. One of America's favorite actors is set to play the iconic host of a beloved children's show. Jason Matheson, host of The Jason Show on Fox 9 in Minneapolis, has the details. Jason?
Thank you, Kristen. Well, you're going to love this, everyone. I'm just going to say this. Give the man an Oscar already, or another one. I'm talking about Tom Hanks. His latest role is Mr. Rogers. That's right. It's going to be a biopic called You Are My Friend, and it's based on a true story, and the story is unbelievable. So there was a journalist who got a reluctant assignment, he was reluctant to do it, I should say, to go and do a profile on Fred Rogers. Well, the journalist ended up not only loving the assignment, but learning so many life lessons, as we all did, because of working with Mr. Rogers. Now, we don't know when the movie is going to come out yet, but I can tell you it is going to be great. And go see the documentary, too, about Fred Rogers. Kristen?
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Thanks, Jason.
There have been wildly varying reactions to President Donald Trump's first State of the Union. Depending on which poll you read, it was either broadly positive or the worst received in a while. He began with a call for unity.
Tonight, I call upon all of us to set aside our differences, to seek out common ground, and to summon the unity we need to deliver for the people.
In policy terms, he said he would bring Congress a $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan. He also pledged to lower prescription drug prices and denounced North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. But many Democrats remained in their seats and booed when Trump spoke about immigration. He proposed making a deal for undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children in exchange for funding for a wall on the Mexican border and an end to the visa lottery program, as well as stricter rules for family members of immigrants entering the country. Representative Joe Kennedy criticized Trump in the official Democratic response.
This administration isn't just targeting the laws that protect us. They're targeting the very idea that we are all worthy of protection.
Republicans naturally appraising the speech and Trump, especially for remarks about tax cuts and the economy. Let's wait and see if this moves the needle of his approval ratings.
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 10 Phoenix, every year Phoenix Children's Hospital hosts Camp Rainbow for kids who have or have had cancer or chronic blood disorders. It's filled with fun activities where the kids can unwind, make friends, and most importantly, just be kids. One of those activities is a trip to Turf Paradise Racetrack, where the kids ride horses and ponies. These kids have all traveled difficult paths in life, but today they just get to relax. Our second story from Fox 4 Dallas, the Bank of America building is the tallest building in Dallas, standing 70 stories high. But each year, thousands of people climb to the very top floor for the Big D climb. The race raises money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, an organization that funds blood cancer research and provides support to patients. The event raised more than $180,000. In our final story from Fox 29 Philadelphia, Edward and Bunny Kowalczyk are die-hard Eagles fans. Just look at their basement. It's a shrine to their beloved team. And their devotion to the Eagles is about so much more than just football. Whenever life got tough, the Eagles were always there to lift them up. After Ed and Bunny lost their daughter in a car crash, the Eagles surprised them with 30 tickets to a home game.
At the time, it was such an uplifting thing that for no reason at all came from the Eagles.
And Ed and Bunny will be watching Sunday when the Eagles face off against the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
The link between Alzheimer's disease and sugar is startling. In research published last week in the journal Diabetologia, nearly 5,200 people were studied over the course of 10 years and found that people with high blood sugar had a faster rate of cognitive decline than those with normal blood sugar. The lead author on the study said dementia is one of the most prevalent psychiatric conditions strongly associated with poor quality of later life. Currently, dementia is not curable, which makes it very important to study risk factors. Another review of studies done in 2016 found that those with type 2 diabetes were about twice as likely to get Alzheimer's. In addition, the use of insulin also increases the risk of Alzheimer's. The American Diabetes Association estimates more than 8 million Americans have diabetes and another 86 million have high enough blood sugar to be categorized as pre-diabetic. Yet another potentially harmful side effect of the Western diet.
The Toronto Zoo welcomed a new baby rhino calf on January 4th, and he's already going viral. The zoo has been giving updates on their Facebook page using the hashtag #BabyRhinoDiaries, and the unnamed calf wasn't a fan of water at first, but once he gained a little confidence, the adorable rhino splished and splashed and rolled around as if water were the greatest thing he'd ever seen. I think it's pretty clear bath time is his new favorite. Heather Stenlake was working in a bridal shop in Trexlertown, Pennsylvania, when she came up with the idea for the Bridal Buddy, a sheer, lightweight slip worn under a gown to protect it while a bride uses the bathroom. She said it came to her after being asked multiple times, "How do I go to the bathroom in this thing?" Heather, thank you so much for being with us. How does the Bridal Buddy work?
The way that it works is that a bride wears the slip underneath her bridal gown. They literally bag up on their own without assistance.
So, you have the idea. How did you go from concepting it to actually creating it?
You come up with a prototype. You start somewhere.
Did you have any brides test yours before you decided to take off with it?
I said, can you try this on for me? Can you try it out? And they loved it.
Well, let's talk about the video you made to showcase this Bridal Buddy. I mean, talk about feedback. It went viral. Did you expect this to happen?
Wow, absolutely not.
Heather, thank you so much for sharing your genius with us on Top 30. It's been fun talking to you. Time now for this week's Page 6 Fix. Elizabeth Wagmeister joins us now. Elizabeth, what's going on?
Well, Kristen, first up, we caught country music star Miranda Lambert shading her ex, Blake Shelton, at a concert. Instead of singing I Live in Oklahoma, she changed the lyrics and said, I got the hell out of Oklahoma, alluding to Shelton's home state where they lived together during their marriage. And one couple we're all dying to see tie the knot is Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas. Sophie's Game of Thrones co-star Maisie Williams dished about the upcoming wedding, revealing that she has indeed secured a spot as a bridesmaid. However, we may be waiting a while because Sophie won't start planning her wedding until the 8th and final season of Game of Thrones is finished. And we've got a couple sighting in the City of Love. After months of dating rumors, Big Little Lies star Shailene Woodley finally makes it official with her rugby boyfriend Ben Volavola on social media. She posted pics of her and Ben while at Paris Fashion Week with the caption, "This date though." And that's this week's Page 6 Fix. See you next time.
Thanks, Elizabeth. For more news and gossip, watch Page 6 TV weekdays. Check your local listings.
A launch date is set for the most powerful rocket in the world. Falcon Heavy is scheduled to make its first launch on February the 6th for Elon Musk's space firm. The Heavy launch rocket is 230 feet tall and can carry almost 120,000 pounds of payload into space. To put that into perspective, that's nearly twice as much as its closest competitor. After its final tests are complete, the rocket will start sending satellites into orbit. Several companies have already signed up, along with the US Air Force, which will send up weather satellites later this year. As for the February 6th launch, the rocket will be carrying a Tesla car to outer space. On Twitter, Musk said, "I love the thought of a car drifting apparently endlessly through space and perhaps being discovered by an alien race millions of years in the future." And that alien's first thought? Am I caught up in some elaborate PR stunt?
Imagine being the mayor, clerk, treasurer, bartender, and librarian of your town. For Elsie Eiler, it's her everyday life as the sole resident of Monterey, Nebraska, a small town, clearly, about 200 miles from Omaha. When her husband Rudy passed away in 2004, it left Monterey with a population of 1, making it the only incorporated place in the United States with just 1 resident. 84-year-old Elsie runs the world-famous Monterey Tavern, which she opens daily at 9 a.m. She's had visitors from 47 states and more than 40 countries. Elsie said, "I'm the only one that lives here in town. Everybody else has either passed away or moved away, and this is where I chose to stay." Every year, Elsie is required to produce a municipal road plan to secure state funding, and then she raises about $500 worth of tax from herself to keep the town's 3 lampposts lit and the water flowing. And don't worry, Elsie's not lonely. There's always somebody coming and going, she says. A 30-second Super Bowl ad costs $5 million this year. Companies paying that kind of cash are generally looking to make a splash with a highly produced commercial that catches the audience's attention and, of course, gets people talking. But Kraft is taking a different approach. The company is producing their ad on the day of the game, and you could be in it. Kraft is asking people to take pictures and videos showing how they're getting ready for the Super Bowl. People can just post those to Twitter or Instagram with the hashtags #FamilyGreatly or Kraft entry. Kraft will then pick their favorite ones and put them together for their ad, which will air in the second half of the game. So you can watch the game to see who wins and to see if you're featured in a commercial that could be seen by 110 million people. In the event you find yourself with $69.995 million, you can bid on a spectacular property previously owned by Cher and Eddie Murphy. The Oscar winner sold the Benedict Canyon property to Murphy in 1986 for $6.3 million, and now it's back on the market for over 10 times that much. The current owner purchased the home in the 90s and grew the estate to 16 acres by purchasing multiple surrounding properties. Its focal point is a stunning, one-of-a-kind 20,000 square foot main house that impresses with 11 bedrooms, 17 bathrooms, an atrium, a home theater, a gym, and a maid's quarters. The guard-gated estate also features a 7,000 square foot Moroccan guest house, a tennis court, and an equestrian center that includes riding and hiking trails, 5 stables, and 2 white gravel rings. This horse lover's dream home was previously on the market for a whopping $85 million in 2016. Hey, Richard, what's coming up on our next show?
Kristen, we're talking about success. Many Americans think being more successful means making more money. But how much exactly does it take? Plus, most New Year's resolutions fail, but these steps could help, and the unbelievable story of a pit bull that saved her owners' lives. It is all coming up on the next Top 30.